introduction. The topic of our GD is there can never be a classless society. So basically, a classless society is a society where no person is born into a social class. Uh, but I don't think this is a really feasible idea because uh, every person is born into a family, and each family has different amount of wealth, different amount of income, and they belong to different cultures and they belong to different regions. And hence, I believe there is always a social hierarchy because people belong to different sections of the society.
I also agree with the statement that there can never be a classless society because humans naturally they form groups based on shared interests and skills or status, which leads to classes, and I don't think that it is feasible without a classless society.
Try to delve a little into how these things develop.
So, so we see that in our society there are different classes of people who do different kinds of work altogether. Each kind of individual is not on par with another individual, and everyone has his or her own qualities, and uh, and hence I believe that uh, there can be no equality of any sort between everyone, and this could only mean that the society is not classless because ultimately everyone is doing a different sort of work and everyone is proficient in different kind of uh, things, and they are getting paid according to their uh, qualities and deliveries they are making, and hence I believe that the society is classless.
I feel like these classes they happen because of social hierarchies or inequalities, like you stated. And also because of history, because we have seen this from the past generations and it keeps on following in the future generations as well. And then there are power dynamics that come into play. Although technological and social advancements have they have revamped how the classes are defined in the society, but they will still exist in the future, is what I feel.
um, just like you said, like there are different aspects which are reforming our society and are changing how we see the class structure within the society, but uh, we also see that every individual uh, has his or her own distinction within the society. He or her is uh, determined by their wealth or by the job they do, and by different kinds of culture or different kinds of aspects of their life they follow, and everyone has this different uh, differentiation between them, and hence there could there could never be a possibility of everyone being equal in the society, and hence the classless society is not possible. This The classless society concept can also be uh, compared to communism because uh, basically in a communist society it is believed that the society is classless and that the social that the entire community will be run by a social organization, and wherein all the people will be equal with respect to uh, wealth, their achievements, and so on. And I don't think a communist society is very much feasible in our present conditions as we see in the present generation.
Sir, I don't have many more topics. अब हो गया है
Try,
क्योंकि मेरे हिसाब से
try to go back 2000, 3000 years ago. Try to see how these things developed. Maybe 4000 years ago, and then come
Sir,
back to present.
these things develop because of income inequalities, mainly, I think, and power dynamics.
4000 years of human existence. You are telling it in two lines: income inequality and power dynamics. Try to think a little more socio-economically, how societies develop, how cultures develop. So what was the situation in, let's say, 1000 in India?
So there were rulers who ruled, and then there were power dynamics between them. So that divided them into classes. Then came the Industrial Revolution, and then Industrial Revolution also caused a lot of classism. And then in the modern society, we can see upper class, middle class, and lower class. That also divides them into classes. So over time, we have seen that classism only grows, and it is just we have to change the mindset of the people to not treat the lower classes like they do right now.
So suddenly one fine day they were rulers.
um, so, as Manya suggested, that from a very long time we have been uh, seeing that there is always a class-based structure within the society. We could also see this from the early man times as well, because uh, during the early man period, all the human beings, or the early man as we call them, uh, were only surviving if they were fit to live within the environment they were living in. Strong early man would get better food, and would be living a more comfortable life when compared to a weak early man, and hence we see that this classism has been prevalent in the society since the start of mankind, and hence I believe that a classless society is never possible.
Anything else, Manya?
Sir, I feel like we covered everything.
Huh. Okay. See, the best example that comes to my mind when we talk of a classless society, there was a film called The Island. Have you seen it?
No,
No, sir.
Hmm?
no.
So in that film, it's a bunch of maybe 20 people, 25 people who decide to live on an island without any class. They're like hippies and all. There's no class system. everybody is equal, so they'll go and get some fish and eat it, and everybody is like very friendly. But over a period of time, there is envy, jealousy, love, hate. So they sometimes go from there, from that island to the city, and they buy stuff for themselves. So slowly, slowly, what happens is, there is one girl or lady who sort of becomes the leader of that group, and she's the queen. And then whoever she likes, he becomes the favorite, and he gets to get some extra benefits out of the relationship and everything. And so it showed very clearly how we cannot be a classless society. If you look at human history also, like you mentioned it in a very short two sentences. So initially we were hunter gatherers, like we discussed the other day, and so whoever would be physically more fit would get better benefits. He would have probably more females around him, and he would procreate more and stuff like that. So the concept of a leader of the clan or the tribe came up. Then came the agricultural revolution, and then where their land became the bigger thing rather than muscle power. So whoever has more land can capture more land and is richer. That way, he would be the leader in the community. Then, like you said, the industrial revolution came, and now that has continued, with internet and all. So every time you see that human beings by nature, they are very competitive, sort of. If you have human beings have different IQs, different structures, different mindsets. They live in different environments. So every place they are in, there is some kind of competition, and it's always for resources and women. I mean, that may sound a little orthodox, but then that's how it is. So there can never be a classless society, and you can just go on giving examples. Even if you go to school, in a class of 40 students or 30 students, the teacher will select a monitor, so he becomes the kind of uh, example who needs to be followed, or the leader of the group. Then there'll be a topper. Then there'll be somebody who is good in sports, somebody who is good at acting. From school level itself, all these different differences they come in. So there are so many things in human beings which are absent in animals. That is why humans have always sort of, been divided into class. Even in school life or later on also, some people like music, some people are into sports, some people go into dramatics, some are in debate. So there can never be a classless society because human beings, by their very nature, are very diversified group, not like animals, just doing one thing and living their life like that. So there's a lot of diversity in the human nature itself, which makes us a society which is divided into different classes, clans, hobbies, etc., etc. Okay,
Yes, sir.
just give me one.